Welcome to the podcast where we travel beyond borders to bring you the heartbeat of unique local traditions from my region, Nord-Pas-de-Calais. I'm Cécile, and today we dive deep into the colorful, chaotic, and deeply spirited world of one of France's most eccentric and beloved festivals, the Carnival of Dunkirk, le Carnaval de Dunkerque. But first of all, if it's not already done, I invite you to subscribe to my channel and click on the bell. You can receive a notification as soon as a new video is published. And thank you to all the new subscribers. You are more and more numerous and it really encourages me. Forget Rio or Venice for a moment. We're heading to the northern coast of France, where fishermen in wigs, men in women's clothing, and an airborne shower of herring transform an entire city into a sea of joyful madness. In this first part, I will talk to you about the origin of Dunkirk Carnival and why men dress as women during the carnival, among other things. So stay attentive until the end. And later, I promise you that there will be a second part because there are so many things to say about this magnificent carnival in my region. So let's begin with how it all started. The Dunkirk Carnival, or Carnaval de Dunkerque, dates back to the early 17th century. At the time, Dunkirk was a bustling fishing port on the edge of the North Sea, and life there revolved around the rhythms of the ocean. Each year, crews of local fishermen set sail on treacherous voyages to the icy waters of Iceland, where they would remain at sea for months, risking storms, cold, and isolation to bring back precious cod that sustained the town's economy. The departures were emotional and dangerous, so before each expedition, the shipowners and civic leaders organized large farewell feasts, known as Les Joyeuses. These gatherings were filled with food, drink, music, and dance. They were designed to boost the morale of the fishermen and their families, to lift spirits before what could be a final goodbye. In many ways, they served as both a celebration of community and a ritual of courage. Over time, this practical farewell evolved into a cherished annual tradition. Even as the fishing industry changed and fewer boats left for Iceland, the people of Dunkirk held on to the celebration, and it grew. What had started as a one-day meal became a weeks-long explosion of color, costumes, singing, and satire. The carnival expanded beyond the fishermen. It became a festival for everyone: workers, families, musicians, and mischief makers. And unlike the refined masquerades of Venice or the aristocratic balls of Paris, Dunkirk's carnival has always had a rougher edge. It grew from the streets, from the workers, from those who knew how to laugh in hard times. The costumes weren't meant to impress. They were meant to liberate. There's a raw, joyful, slightly anarchic spirit to the event that reflects the town's history of resilience and rebellion. To this day, that spirit lives on. The songs still echo the sea. The processions still follow the path of old fishing quarters. And the Carnival of Dunkirk remains not just a celebration, but a memory, a tribute, and a defiant embrace of life in the face of hardship. The Dunkirk Carnival isn't just a local party. It's a cultural monument in motion. In 2013, it earned national recognition when it was officially listed as a part of France's Intangible Cultural Heritage by the Ministry of Culture. This designation is reserved for traditions that are not only historic, but also alive, practices that continue to evolve while anchoring a community's identity. And that's precisely what makes the Dunkirk Carnival so extraordinary. It's not preserved behind glass like a museum piece, it lives in the streets, in the voices of those who sing its songs, and in the hands of those who sew their costumes year after year. It's a celebration that belongs to the people and is constantly reinvented by them, yet never loses its core meaning. In recent years, there has been a strong push to elevate the carnival even further, to secure its place on UNESCO's representative list of the intangible cultural heritage of humanity. This would place it alongside global treasures such as flamenco in Spain, the Carnival of Oruro in Bolivia, and Japan's Noh theater. For Dunkirk, such recognition wouldn't be about prestige alone. It would acknowledge the deep cultural continuity that the carnival represents and the community's role in keeping it alive. Because the Carnival of Dunkirk isn't only about music and costumes, it's about memory. The same melodies sung today were once hummed by fishermen heading out to sea. The same street routes for the band were once trodden by townspeople saying farewell to loved ones. These elements, songs, rituals, gestures are passed on orally and emotionally, from parent to child, from neighbor to neighbor. Whether it's the way people paint their faces, the local dialect used in carnival songs, or the informal social codes of a chapelle, every part of the carnival is steeped in what anthropologists call intangible heritage. The kind that you can't store, digitize, but only transmit through experience and participation. This is what makes the Dunkirk Carnival so powerful. It's not a spectacle you watch from the sidelines. It's an heritage you step into, sing along with, and pass forward. At the heart of the Dunkirk Carnival are the famous band. Now calling them parade doesn't quite do them justice. A band is something you watch, it's something you join. It's a tidal wave of color, sound, and people that takes over the city's streets with deliberate, joyful chaos. Imagine thousands of weavers, many in wigs, dresses, makeup, and bizarre costumes, packed shoulder to shoulder. At the front, a brass band playing the familiar refrains of local carnival songs, many of which are over a century old. Behind them, a mass of people march slowly forward, arm in arm, forming long human chains called rigodons. These chains sway, surge, and bounce in rhythm with the music. They stop often, not to rest, but to jump, turn around, or collapse in jiggles. It's a movement that's less choreographed than it is instinctual, learned through participation, repetition, and shared memory. Each neighborhood or district has its own band with its own character and schedule. Some are older and more traditional, others more rebellious or theatrical. The carnival stretches across multiple weekends, starting in mid-January and culminating in the peak celebration during les Trois Joyeuses, or the Three Joyous Days, around Mardi Gras. Locals from Dunkirk take their band affiliation seriously. Many have grown up marching in the same group alongside parents and even grandparents. For those who've moved away, it's common to return home each year just to march with their childhood band. Dressed in the same costume, singing the same songs. It's more than nostalgia. It's loyalty, identity, and a shared rite of passage. There are no barriers between spectators and participants, because in truth there are no spectators. Whether you're a lifelong local or a first-time visitor, the moment you step into a band, you're one of them. You'll find yourself singing, dancing, laughing, and being pulled, sometimes literally, into the flow of tradition. This sense of inclusion, of organic participation, is what makes the bands so powerful. They don't exist for show, they exist for the people. In Dunkirk, the street is the stage, and everyone has a part to play. The carnival season in Dunkirk is no ordinary calendar event. It's a transformation that stretches over nearly 3 months, from mid-January through March. Each weekend brings its own festivities, bands, and chapelle, building in energy and intensity. But it all leads to one epic crescendo, les Trois Joyeuses, the Three Joyous Days. These final days, usually Sunday, Monday, known locally as the Lundi Gras, and Mardi Gras, are the beating earth of the carnival. This is when the city completely lets go of everyday life and surrenders to ritual, chaos, and celebration. During the Trois Joyeuses, Dunkirk becomes unrecognizable. Shops close, offices empty. Children don costumes for school events, and adults dive headfirst into the carnival spirit. Every pub is packed shoulder to shoulder with costumed revelers singing
at the top of their lungs. Brass bands roam from bar to bar, welcomed with cheers. Street corners become spontaneous stages, staircases become chorus, and plazas pulse with drums and dancing. The city becomes a single, pulsating organism of festivity, every wall echoing with old sea shanties and carnival anthems. And during this time, everyone is a performer. There are no passive observers. Whether you're in costume or not, if you're in Dunkirk during the travailleurs, you are part of the show. Strangers link arms in the rigodon, share drinks, and sing like old friends. Costumes get more elaborate, songs more spirited, and the laughter louder. In many homes, chapels remain open day and night, welcoming friends, neighbors, and even newcomers with warm food and warm earths. The boundaries between public and private space blur completely. Mardi Gras itself is the climax of this long crescendo. It's a sacred chaos, the final hurrah before Lent, where emotions run high and tradition reigns. At sunset on Tuesday, a symbolic ritual closes the festivities, often with the burning of an effigy known as violets, representing the spirit of the carnival. It's a bittersweet moment, joyous, but with a touch of melancholy, as the locals say goodbye to the season that unites them like no other. And yet, the echoes of those days linger. Even after the costumes are packed away, the songs continue in memory. For the people of Dunkirk, the carnival isn't just a celebration, it's a renewal, a reminder of who they are, where they come from, and what they share. One of the most iconic and delightfully jarring features of the Dunkirk Carnival is the cross-dressing. Yes, you heard that right. Grown men in frilly dresses, thick makeup, oversized broth, featured arts, and extravagant wigs parade through the streets. Some even push baby strollers filled with rubber fish or wear high heels that defy gravity. It's colorful, it's chaotic, and it's completely intentional. But behind the visual absurdity lies a tradition deeply rooted in both local history and broader carnival symbolism. So, why do the men wear dresses? The origin likely traces back to Dunkirk's maritime past. During the long fishing expeditions to Iceland, which could last months, women were left to manage homes, raise children, and hold the town together. When the men returned, Was one of the only moments when the community came together in celebration before the next departure. Crossdressing became a playful inversion, a way for men to symbolically acknowledge the roles their wives and mothers had taken on during their absence. But there is more. This gender role reversal is not unique to Dunkirk. It's a common theme in carnival traditions worldwide. From the ancient Roman Saturnalia to Mardi Gras in New Orleans or Carnival in Brazil, these festivals often flip social norms upside down. The poor dress like king, men dress like women, and rules are suspended in favor of laughter, satire, and liberation. In Dunkirk, this tradition has taken on a life of its own. It's not about performance in the theatrical sense. This isn't polished, stylized drag. It's deliberately exaggerated, homemade, and hilarious mismatched. It's camp without polish, parody without pretense. What matters isn't looking pretty or authentic, but embracing the freedom to look as ridiculous as possible. For locals, this cross-dressing is less about gender and more about rebellion. It's a joyful coup d'etat against conformity and opportunity to step outside of yourself and into a shared madness. For a few hours or days, you can be someone else entirely, and no one judges you for it. In fact, you're celebrated for it. Freedom in its rarest, most theatrical form. A man in heels and a boa might break into a traditional sea shanty with tears in his eyes. Another might march hand in hand with his child, both dressed in pink tutus, and somehow it all makes sense. In this topsy-turvy world, absurdity becomes the language of truth, and laughter becomes a kind of therapy. In Dunkirk, the dress may be borrowed, but the spirit is all their own. And that's the end of the first part. I hope you enjoy this little introduction. Not too many feathers or earring, I promise. If anything surprised you, intrigued you, or maybe even slightly bothered you, feel free to share it in the comments. I read them all, usually with a cup of chicory in hand. The next part is coming very soon, and trust me, the Dunkirk Carnival still has plenty of secrets to reveal. See you again soon.